Hi, I'm Annie Owens, and welcome to My Dimensional Life. Before we get started, let's go ahead and I'm asking you to please like, share, and subscribe. Help me out with the algorithm so we can hear more stories of my life. I decided today I had a conversation with a colleague. She's a beautiful soul. She's got a really, really good, strong spirit to her. You can one of these people you get around and you can just feel their energy coming off of them. She's beautiful. But we were discussing about paranormal activities, ghosts, spirits, and so I decided today I'm going to share with my experiences, and I've been really contemplating on the best way for me to come forward and explain spirits and why I have the belief that I do. So I'm actually going to tie some of the stories together to kind of help out. So maybe you can take it in. And as I said before, I'm telling you my stories. It's from my perspective of everything that's happened to me in my life. So I'm asking you to, if you want to know the truth, pray about it. Go ahead and meditate if that's what you do. Whatever you do to find out the truth inside of you. I know that this is a truth inside of me. So I'm going to share it with you. So when I was younger, I had an experience where I woke up one morning and I was a bit hungry. And as I said, I came from a larger family, and I thought I heard voices in the kitchen. So I thought, oh man, my parents must be up getting breakfast for us, because this often happened on Saturdays. You know, they would get together and they'd kind of make breakfast and then call us all that the breakfast was ready and we'd go eat. So I got up and I went to the kitchen expecting to find my parents there, and there was nobody in the kitchen. And so I'm looking around and I could still hear voices. They kind of sounded like they were slightly in a distance. And as I said before, growing up when I was very young, the neighborhood wasn't the worst neighborhood, but it definitely wasn't the best neighborhood to grow up in. And so my first thought went to, like a little kid going, oh man, somebody's broke into our house. Maybe they're in our backyard. I didn't understand where the voices were coming from, and I couldn't understand what they were saying. So I got really scared when this is happening, and I'm like, okay, it sounded like it was maybe on our back patio that we had. And so I'm like, oh man, I need to go into the living room. So I went into the living room, which was connected to the dining room area. My mom used to always have these, she'd always wear these very long coats, and the coat was draped over the couch. And so my first thought, which, I'm thinking like a little kid, I was probably about 7, 8 years old at the time, was grab that coat, put it all the way over me, and like I said before, make a little hole so I can breathe through it, but curl up in a ball. Nobody will know I was here. That was my thoughts. Okay, you're just going to hide. Nobody's going to know that you're there. So as I laid there on the couch, I kept hearing them talk, and before I knew it, it was getting closer and closer. I was scared. I was so scared. I was shaking, and I had to control myself of my shaking underneath this big, huge coat because I didn't want to be found. And I laid there as still as I could, just trying to do whatever I could so that they couldn't hear me. And as I'm laying there in this ball, I actually can hear, because the couch was set up to where there was a walkway behind it. I could actually hear like they were standing on the other side of the couch and they were talking, but they were talking so fast that I couldn't make out what they were saying. I would catch words like it and the, just very small words, but I couldn't understand. It was, it was just going so quickly. And it was at least a couple of them that were talking like this. I had the feeling that they were talking about something with one of my brothers, but other than that, I couldn't catch on to the words. I couldn't understand what they were saying. And as a kid, I was scared to death. And so I'm laying there and laying there. Finally, I got so hot and scared. I was sweating. I passed out. Well, I don't know if I was really passed out. I literally just, it knocked me out. I was asleep. It was hot. And the sun had just started coming in the morning in the front window, and it was hitting on me on the couch, and I fell asleep. I was just totally out. And in the morning, my parents did get up and they start making breakfast. They didn't know I was on the couch because of the way it was set up. Unless you're looking for somebody on it, I wasn't sitting, so you couldn't see. And so finally I hear them going, where's Annie? Where's Annie? And one of my brothers had found me in the living room, and they're like, she's here. And they pull the coat off it. I'm just drenched. I'm literally just drenched in perspiration. I had just gotten so hot that I had literally fallen asleep. And my mom got really upset. Don't put my coat on you. And, I couldn't explain to them what had happened, because all this time that I'm having these experiences, my parents didn't understand, and my mom, her whole thing was, oh, it's just in your head, it's just in your head, you know. And so I didn't understand what had happened to me. So I want to tie this in today with my second near death experience, where I was actually able to find out what this was when I was a child that had happened. I was in a hospital. I was an adult, obviously. I was married, and I was in a car accident, and I had to have 3 surgeries because of that. And I was very blessed in the fact that they actually said that a 1/4 inch more, I would have been paralyzed from the neck down. So there's that. But I had to have 3 surgeries because of this. And when I went in for my third surgery, I had this weird feeling, but it's that feeling of unease, but at the same time, how are you supposed to tell them, oh, I feel very uncomfortable about this third surgery, so let's just not have it done? It was something that had to be done for me to actually be able to work properly, to where I'm not feeling the effects of everything that happened in this accident. And so I went in for my surgery. The surgery went fine. Everything went according to the way it was supposed to be. The doctor came out and told my husband that was waiting in the waiting room. At this point, we didn't have kids yet. So was waiting in the waiting room and says, hey, the surgery went fine. She's now in recovery, and then soon we'll be bringing her to the room. And so my husband's feeling pretty good about it. He's there at the hospital waiting. Next thing he knows, he says a nurse came in and said, we're working on resuscitating your wife. She is no longer breathing. She's unconscious. And so he's freaked out. He's totally freaked out. Nobody will tell him anything. But during this experience, for me, what had happened was they were very, very busy at the hospital. I actually could have sued the hospital for it. They were extremely busy at this hospital, and I was in recovery, and they had given me a shot of morphine because I guess I was complaining. They didn't chart it. They gave me a second shot of morphine, and somehow, I don't know if there was a code red for one of the other people, it didn't get charted again. And the third shot of morphine actually stopped my heart. But they didn't know at the time what was going on. All of a sudden, it's just, I'm not breathing anymore. And it wasn't until later that they were able to find out. And they did tell me I could sue them, but I was already going through everything with the car accident that wasn't our fault, and there was already an attorney involved in that. And it felt like it was just way too much for me. I survived through it. So, but let me tell you what happened. So when they gave me that third shot, and I don't remember the third shot, I just remember all of a sudden I'm laying there on the bed, and I'm looking up at the ceiling, and the lights, they had like fluorescent, totally covered lights that were in there. Just the whole floor was very lit up. And I keep hearing people behind me going, Annie, Annie, stay with us, Annie, stay with us, Annie. Voices that I didn't know. And this is now my second near-death experience, and I really didn't care. I'm sorry, I really didn't care. At that point, I just felt the freedom of leaving my body. I went up through the ceiling, and I just said, all right, take me wherever I need to go. I just didn't care. I felt free. It was like waking up. It felt fantastic. I'm sorry. It really was fantastic. It felt fantastic. And I go kind of floating through. I'm getting pulled energetically. I'm getting pulled somewhere, right? And I didn't see the light. Like, we'll get into my first near-death experience, which was totally different than this time. And so I'm basically being pulled, and as I'm being pulled, I come to this area that's like, how would I explain it to you? It was like a ground, but like a cloud. It was white. That's all I know. And I was literally slowly coming up. And as I'm slowly coming up, I saw 5 adult humans standing around, and they were talking. And there was 3 men and there was 2 women. They were fully dressed in white as they're standing there talking. And I noticed when I was listening to them, and my head's just slowly coming up through this. It's exactly what I heard when I was a little kid. It was, but when I see them, I realize that their mouth is not moving. So I'm understanding that I'm hearing it telepathically as the speed of thought. And that's why I'm only able to catch these small little words, because they're speaking so fast to each other, but it's basically speed of thought, not how slow it has to come out of your mouth. And I'm just watching them. And all of a sudden, one of the men that was there dressed in white, he looked over towards me, and I'm slowly kind of coming out of the ground. By this time, my head's about up like this, and I'm slowly starting to come up. He looks at me, he walks over to me, And telepathically, without moving his mouth at all, he put his hand on my head and said, "Not yet." And as soon as he did that and touched my where my head was, I literally was pulled back into my body. It was the same experience as the first time, where it felt like somebody grabbed the base of your cerebral cortex and yanked you back into your body. And when I came back into my body, it was like a jolt. And I had been intubated. They had tubes down my throat, and they're telling me, it's okay, you can breathe. But you got that choking feeling when you have those tubes down your throat. The gag reflexes is kicking in, and you're just, you're holding on for dear life. And they literally had to hold me down because I was getting ready. I was trying to pull that thing out because I was just like, you feel like you're dying while they're, going, oh, it's okay, you can breathe. And anyways, they went ahead and gave me some type of shot to kind of calm me down, and that's finally how they calmed me down. But I just wanted to share that with you because all my experience in my life, I've been really blessed to have one experience, and I don't fully understand it. And I try really hard to journal everything that happens because when I have another experience, then I'm going, okay, now this experience makes sense because this is what happened here, and this is actually explaining it. And I've been so blessed my whole life, and the explanations that I've got, and that's my perception of the things that are happening. I'd like to get into more of the spiritual world and the correlation even between the alien experiences I've had. There's a lot of correlation between the two. And I believe that there's a lot more people like me out there. So I'm hoping that as I start coming forward and start talking about all these different things that are happening or have happened in my life, that it will bring other people the courage who have had the same type of experiences in their life to be able to come forward and share it with you, because I know that the world is changing in so many different ways, and people are going to start seeing things that they're not used to seeing because the spirit world is so close to our dimension, and that's why people see it. And I will get more into that as we start going on. As I said, please do like, share, and subscribe so I can get more videos to you, and you come up with your own understanding of it. Comments, please comment if you have questions about things. I'd love to answer. So we'll see you on the next time.